You want to know how one ordinary Saturday at the mall spun my whole view of success, failure, and second chances on its head? I still hear the echo of my own heels that morning. Elizabeth Morgan, on autopilot, CEO armor on, even with my little girl in tow, weaving through a crowd at Westfield Mall that felt like a living river when suddenly Mia stopped cold, gripped my hand like she was dangling off a cliff, and her face, God, her face, that look every parent knows if they've ever watched their kid's breath slip away, blue lips, terrified eyes, and me digging through my purse like a madwoman, realizing the inhaler was back. Home, right where I'd left it next to this morning's never-ending conference call. The shame, the panic, the pure helplessness that all hit at once. Right then, some security guard, Daniel Reed, his badge said, materialized, not looking for shoplifters, but with this sharp, urgent clarity I'd recognize anywhere. He didn't waste a second, just dropped to his knees, and before I could blink, he had a backup inhaler out and knew exactly what to do. You could tell this wasn't his first time. Mia started breathing again, color coming back, her fingers loosening from my wrist. That's when the world snapped back into focus, the sounds of the mall, my own breath coming in ragged. I thanked him, tried to tip him, force of habit, I guess, but he shut it down so quick, I almost felt foolish. I have a daughter with asthma, too, he said, almost like an apology, as if that explained why he was so ready to save a stranger's child. I tried to regain my composure, introduce myself, pulled my CEO voice around me like a shield. But Daniel wasn't playing that game. You should have her checked by a doctor, he said, not a hint of judgment, just a fact. Then he pressed a card into my hand, said, just in case you need backup again. I barely remembered to thank him before I was already dialing our pediatric specialist, mind back in problem-solving mode, but his words stuck with me. Rich always thought money was the answer. For a second, I felt completely seen, and not in a way that made me comfortable. 2 weeks went by. I replayed that scene in my mind more than I cared to admit. Then, there we were again, this time at the food court, Mia dragging me over to him, her homemade thank you card clutched in her hand, a superhero inhaler, man, wings and all. Mom said we should thank you properly. You know, there's something about being called out by an 8-year-old that hits different. So we invited him for ice cream, and maybe for the first time in years, I let my guard down. Daniel wasn't just a security guard. That much was obvious. His answers about asthma, about community, they were too practiced, too personal. We started seeing him more, weekends at the mall, sometimes with his daughter Sophia, quiet, thoughtful girl who had Mia's curiosity and that same inhaler in her pocket. The girls bonded right away. Maybe it was the asthma buddy thing, or maybe kids just get to the heart of things quicker than adults ever do. One afternoon, after another one of Mia's close calls, I said to Daniel, "You sure know a lot about this for a security guard." He hesitated, then admitted he'd once been an ER doctor, pediatric emergency medicine, no less. But hospital hours and single fatherhood don't mix, he said. He chose stability for Sophie over prestige for himself. That honesty cut through everything. I recognized it. That look of someone who's lived with their choices, not always happily, but with a kind of integrity. It all built to this one night, the Meridian Charity Gala, where I was supposed to be the star, championing children's health from a stage in a designer dress. But in the middle of my speech, the real emergency happened. A child, gasping, blue-lipped, panic spreading like wildfire. Daniel was there, out of his security uniform and straight into action. It was his daughter, Sophie. He moved through the crowd with a presence you can't fake, handling the crisis while I stood frozen, realizing the line between us was never about status or salary. It was about the choices we made, the kids we loved, and the things we'd lost along the way. Afterward, someone whispered in my ear, "Dr. Reed was a pioneer's work could have changed everything for kids with asthma." And it hit my ears ago. I'd personally shot down his research proposal at Meridian. Profits didn't look good. The board wanted sexy projects, not life-saving ones. Standing there, I remembered every word of that rejection. And for the first time, I saw the faces it had hurt, not just the numbers. The next weeks, Daniel switched shifts, kept his distance, and my daughter noticed. "Why don't we see Mr. Daniel anymore?" she asked, heartbreak in her voice. "We breathe the same air," Mia said, and everyone needs help breathing sometimes. Out of the mouths of babes, right? That night, I dug up Daniel's old proposal. It was even more revolutionary than I'd realized. He wasn't just making medicine, he was making it possible for kids who never get a shot at quality care to finally breathe easy. Then came the worst night of all Mia's asthma attack at 2 a.m., blue lips, limp in my arms. I was driving her to the ER when I passed Daniel's apartment. On pure instinct, I stopped, buzzed his unit, desperate. He let us in. No questions, no hesitation. Got Mia on a nebulizer, calmed me down, talked me through everything. His apartment was simple, filled with medical journals and kids drawing saw life live for others, quietly, without fanfare. After Mia was stable, I told him the truth. I'd blocked his research for all the wrong reasons. For profit, for optics, for everything except the one thing that should have mattered: helping kids like ours. I apologized. He just nodded, tired but honest, saying some of us experience life's unfairness earlier than others. We both knew it wasn't personal, but that didn't make it hurt less. That night changed everything. I called Meridian, demanded we revisit Daniel's project not as a favor, but as a mission. When the new proposal landed on his doorstep, it came with a note: some mistakes can be corrected. He hesitated. Of course, old wounds take time, but Sophie, wise beyond her years, nudged him. You smiled more when you helped kids breathe, she said. And isn't that what life is about? When Daniel finally came to the board meeting, trading his security uniform for his old doctor's, sway lit up the room, passion reigniting, executives listening, and when the vote came, it was unanimous. Meridian was all in, this time for the right reasons. Afterward, I asked him, "Why did you come back?" He looked at me, half smiling, and said, "Because sometimes the best way to help your own child is to help everyone's." We're not a family, not in the storybook sense. But as our daughters raced around the park, two little girls with superhero inhalers and laughter that carried on the wind, Daniel and I sat on that bench, watching, learning, growing. Do you ever regret it? I asked, leaving medicine, leaving the old paths. He looked at Sophie and Mia and shook his head. Regret's not the word. I wish I'd realized sooner. You don't have to choose between helping your child and helping the world. So, tell me, how do you measure success? In dollars? In lives changed? Or in the quiet moments when you watch your child breathe easy, knowing you did something right? Let's talk about it. What matters most in the end: profit, reputation, or the simple fact that every child, no matter where they're from, deserves a chance to just breathe? Share your story. Let's challenge what we think matters together.